Best of R / Tales from Retail episode 125. Subscribe for edit videos daily. Furious customer makes my day. This was probably almost a year or two ago, but at the retail I used to work at we have a in-store credit card. This customer ended up wanting to use it but hasn't in a good while. Somehow we end up checking the balance on the card and there's like $1.50 on it. He starts to freak out because he hasn't used the card in a good while. I give him a phone number to call, and since this was close to the end of the day I kind of just sit there waiting for him to finish the call to proceed with the purchase. He ends up finding out that somehow he randomly got added onto this protection/fraud very recently, and the operator is like, well, it must have been done in store. However, we haven't been able to add that in store since like 2009. At this point he's getting angry trying to figure out why this happened. They look deeper and end up seeing 2 other random charges from a random lot that doesn't exist. He's getting very angry at this point and yelling. Managers are hovering seeing what's up and I'm just standing there. Ends up getting put on hold and he said the craziest thing. "Don't worry, I'm not mad at you guys at all, I know you can't do anything about it." At that point he had literally been on the phone for 20 minutes screaming at these phone ops. I was blown away. A furious customer that didn't throw all the anger at me. Anyways, he ended up getting refunds and bought the product. I wish more people were like this, and I still appreciate anyone who realizes a lot of stuff we can't control. TLDR. Angry customer was furious at the phone op to the point the whole store could hear him. However, he was extremely nice to everyone in store and didn't blame us. Quick edit. Some are saying the guy shouldn't have been a dick to the phone op. However, the op was extremely rude the entire phone call. Just didn't want to list everything that was done. Thank you. Next. Sir, I'm not tech support, I can't help you. So, I work as a customer service manager for a certain retail chain that has an annual membership. Today, I have this gem of a phone call. Keep in mind that while this conversation is happening, I'm trying to answer questions from my cashiers, ringing my own customers and keeping an ear out for calls from the floor associates about any issues. Thank you for calling. Company, at, place, how may I direct your call? Well, I'm not too sure. I'm having some issues with my membership, the one I pay the annual fee for to get my discount. That'll be customer service, sir. I can help you. What seems to be the issue? I can't get online. I'm sorry, I'm on your website shopping, but I can't get online. You're on our website? On your computer? Yes. Then you're online, sir. But I can't use my discount. So you're having difficulty bringing up your membership on the website? Yes. I can't bring it online. It won't recognize my email. Can I have your email? I'll check that your membership is still active. I check his account and everything is fine. Everything looks fine on our end, sir. If you're having difficulty with your computer, I can direct you to a sales associate and they can do an order right over the phone with you. And that's fine for right now. But how do I get online later? I sigh, take off my customer service hat and put on my baby IT hat. Are you logged into your account? No, it won't let me. I keep trying my info but it doesn't let me log in. Alright, well, I can see that your email isn't the problem since I could look up your account with it. So I'm going to send a reset link to your email. Just click on that and it'll walk you through creating a new password. Okay, I did it. Alright, now log in with your new password. It still won't let me. It sounds like your account might have been locked from repeated login attempts. It's going to have to be unlocked by the IT department. But how do I get online now? Can't you just help me? Sir, I am trying to help you. If you need to get your order done immediately, I can transfer you to a sales associate to get that done, and then we'll get you in touch with IT to unlock your account. I don't have the resource to do that myself from the store. And then I'll be able to get online? Yes, sir. Then you'll be able to get online. IT rep who answered the transfer. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Next. Every shoe in size 9? Sure thing. This story is from a few years ago when I still subjected myself to the arbitrary fascism known as retail. I was working full-time in the footwear department of a hunting, fishing, hiking etc. store. A customer came up to me looking for some hiking shoes, not sure of exactly what he wanted. No problem. I'd be working for almost 2 years and had an extensive knowledge on everything in my department. We started to talk about his needs and I quickly found the brand for him. However, the first few ended up not working so well for him. Again, not too much of an issue, but he seemed to be getting increasingly upset. Before I could offer another shoe, he cut me off and said, "Why don't you just go back there and get every single size 9? I tried to explain that, since we have over 500 shoes on display, that I wouldn't be able to bring everything out. That only seemed to upset him a bit more and he asked again to just bring out everything. I walked to the back room a bit frustrated at the impossibility of the task. However, I decided to do exactly what he asked for. I picked out 14 boxes of size 9s, stacked them up, and held all of them, clearly suffering while walking over to him. I could see his attitude change as I came out, barely holding onto the stack. I plopped them down and said, "Here's some of the size 9s we have. There's quite a few more, so I'll be right back." He quickly stopped me and told me this was enough. He then tried on the first pair, thanked me and left. It did suck to see that I only needed to bring out the first one, but the look on his face was worth the reorganizing. Thank you. Next. On phone for 1 hour. Background. Working industrial, a very large superstore, as an assistant manager industrial, my department. Story time. I get a phone call from a customer. Customer equals RC. Me equals me. Me. Store name my name. How can I help you? RC goes off on me. I hang up. Just want to say I have called it on phone. The same customer call. Again RC goes off. Me hang up. RC call 2 more time goes off. I hang up. RC call want to speak to the manager. I tell him he not her, but I can get a assistant manager. RC say yes to that. Me I am assistant manager Agazin. He goes off. I hang up. Call number 6 from RC. I'll take the phone and I say if we can't talk nicely I can't help. So I help him. It took 5 minutes and that was that. RC call for 1 hour, me 5 minutes to fix it. One more thing, I have zero tolerance on that. Thanks all. Thank you. Next. No, that's too long. I used to work at an electronics retailer. We sold anything you need from laptops to batteries, remote control cars, TVs, etc. We had 2 locations of this store in our town, and I worked at the crappy one. In an average 12-hour day we'd see somewhere around 30 customers. Onto the story. This will be short, and not super exciting to be completely honest. One day a customer comes in. He is an older gentleman. I greet the man and he tells me what he's looking for. He needs an HDMI cord. We have several lengths in store, anywhere from 3 feet to 30 feet. I bring him over to the section in the store where we keep the HDMI cables. He tells me he needs the longest cable we have. I tell him the longest one we have is 30 feet. His response is number. That's too long, reminding me of Hans Mellman and The Simpsons asking for the biggest seed bell they have. He settles for a 12-foot cord. Thank you. Next. Why do you need this much birdseed? It was a hot summer afternoon at the store I was a cashier for. It had been a relatively normal shift. Nothing great, nothing terrible. Until she came up to my register. This tiny old woman had a giant bag of birdseed in her cart, laying flatly on the bottom of her cart. Like any normal large item, I grabbed the detachable scanner and moved over to help her with it. Naturally, the birdseed wasn't on the side where its barcode was, because of course it wouldn't be. This is where my nightmare began. I'm just thinking that I'll flip it over, scan it, and ring her out. I can't budge it. This thing was extremely awkwardly shaped, and it was heavy. This one bag filled up her entire cart, and was stuck. I pushed at the sides, pulled on the top, but this thing was so heavy I could not move it. So I call for a manager, and one of them, C, comes over. C is a woman who wouldn't break 90 pounds soaking wet. I explain the situation to her, and C buzzes a different manager, L. L isn't a big guy, but he's lean, and he's helped us weaklings with things we can't move before. This old woman is just smiling at us sweetly the whole time, saying things like, "Oh, I'm so sorry it got stuck," or "Here, I'll try and help you." Meanwhile C and I are wondering how she got this birdseed into the cart to begin with, because she's about a head shorter and a few pounds lighter than C is. L arrives, and he, C, and I can still not really move the thing. You're probably wondering by now how 3 people couldn't manage to move this demon bag of birdseed. Remember how I said it was hot in there? Our AC had given out a few days ago, and we'd had back-to-back rainstorms for almost a week. Our store was muggy, the material on the bag was slick, so it was almost impossible to get a decent grip on this thing, and whenever you finally thought you'd got a decent enough position to move it, the seeds would shift, and it's time to look for a new spot. After almost 7 minutes of pulling, struggling, and eventually recruiting a 4th person into our struggle who just gotten out of break, we managed to get this heavy-ass bag of birdseed on its side. I rang it up as quickly as I could to make sure I got the barcode while the getting was still good, and finally managed to check this woman out. Took her money. There's another sale. This tiny woman said before she left my register, "I'm not sure I'll be able to get this in my car. Can you help me?" I watched hell die on the inside, and he left with her. As soon as he left, me and C fell to pieces laughing. There were tears running down my face. C's face was bright red, and it took us both a good minute to recompose ourselves. This is where my involvement with the story ends, but not where it does for L. It was oppressively hot outside, and he wasn't having any easier of a time getting this thing into the car than he did turning it in the store, even with the help of some of the cart pusher guys. Finally, they get it in. She smiles at him, hugs him, and sets off with her giant birdseed to parts unknown. I have no idea how this woman got it out of her car, or where she was going, or what she needed with about 90 pounds of birdseed, but wherever you are, birdseed lady, thanks for the laugh. Thank you. Next. Perfect timing. So I used to work at a convenience store in the bad side of town. I even got robbed at this store, but different story for a different time. At this time, about 10 years ago, I was about 20 to 21 years old, and worked nights, by myself. On the weekends I had a security guard, let's call him SG, that started with me at this store at the same time, so we both became friends really quick. Anyways, that's enough about the setup for this story, onto the fun part. One weekend night, it had slowed down, no one was in the store, except for SG and myself. I was busy cleaning when I heard the doorbell ding. As per company policy, I headed up to the counter, and was watching these 2 people come in. Both had obviously been drinking. The man was totally gone, and was one of those quiet happy drunks. He was checking out the fresh donuts in the donut case. The lady had come in and gone to look at a beer. She was not near as wasted as her partner. SG was being nice and helping the guy get some donuts, with me watching. Then I hear the doorbell ring again, as this is one of the ones that dings every time someone opens the door. When I look up I see the lady, and she has 2 12-packs of Miller High Life in her hands and was backing into the door. I look up and who do I see? Why, it's one of my regular police buddies, PB. As she notices him she comes back in and sets the Miller bottles on the counter and says she forgot her wallet in the car. At this point I just brush it off as I have my product that she tried to steal and started to ignore her as PB started talking to her. They eventually step out to the porch and start talking. The guy comes up and buys his donuts and leaves. A moment later PB comes up and asks me to sign the ticket for larceny of merchandise charges. Apparently the lady had been arrested. A small list of the charges she had on her was larceny, evading arrest. She tried to bolt between the squad car and my car, a DUI, illegally driving someone else's vehicle, dunno how legit this one was, and several others. SG and myself were shocked and laughing our asses off at this. I never saw her again. And for those of you that think stealing from a convenience store is perfectly safe, it's not. You could have the cops just roll up and bust you right then and there. TLDR. Lady tried to do a beer run and a cop pulls up just in time to arrest her after she tries to run.